because they did everything and they found in the DNA and they linked it to 4 other crimes that happened in the 40s and were like cold cases. They didn't find a suspect. And that's when they found that Remaro's father was also a criminal. It was the early 1970s in Romania, a time when the country was under the oppressive rule of Nicolae Ceausescu. Amidst the daily struggles of life under dictatorship, a series of brutal crimes began to unfold, casting a dark shadow over Bucharest. The city was gripped by fear as young women were found murdered in horrific circumstances, their bodies bearing the marks of unimaginable violence. The perpetrator, a man who would become the vampire of Bucharest. The name of this man was Ion Rămaru. Ion Rămaru's reign of terror lasted from the 1970 to 1971. His modus operandi was chillingly consistent. Targeting women late at night, he would attack them with unparalleled savagery. The brutality of his crime was unprecedented, involving sexual assault, mutilation, and cannibalism. His victims, all women, ranged in age and background, united only by the horror they endured. Rămaru's crimes were so heinous that they seemed almost supernatural, as if a curse had befallen the city. The authorities were under immense pressure to capture the monster terrorizing the streets. Eventually, a breakthrough came when a piece of evidence linked Rămaru to the crimes. His arrest in May 1971 brought a temporary sight of relief to the terrified populace. However, the story of the Rămaru family did not end with Ion's capture. During the investigation, it was revealed that his father, Flora Rămaru, had also been a notorious criminal. In a twist that seemed almost fated, Flora had committed similar crimes in the 1940s, preying on women in a manner eerily reminiscent of his son's atrocities. This revelation led many to believe that a dark curse plagued the Rămaru bloodline. Flora Rămaru's crimes had gone largely unnoticed in their time, overshadowed by the chaos of World War II. However, his son's brutal acts brought the family's dark legacy into the spotlight. Ion Rămaru was tried and executed in 1971, his death marked by a bullet to the head, but the shadow of the Rămaru name lingered, casting a pall over the Romanian psyche. The tale of the Rămaru family is one steeped in darkness and tragedy. Ion's crimes were not just acts of individual madness, but seemed to reflect a deeper, almost supernatural malevolence. The idea of a family curse gained traction, fueled by the similarities between the father and son's criminal acts and the eerie timing of their crimes. Even after Ion's execution, the fear and intrigue surrounding the Rămaru name persisted. Stories and rumors continued to circulate, suggesting that the curse might not have ended with Ion's death. The Rămaru family's legacy serves as a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity and the enduring power of fear and superstition. Today, the story of the Rămaru family is part of Romania's dark folklore. It serves as a grim reminder of a time when terror walked the streets of Bucharest and the line between reality and nightmare seemed dangerously thin. The curse of the Rămaru family, whether rooted in genetic predisposition or simply a series of horrific coincidences, remains a haunting chapter in the annals of true crime. This is a story that I've been kind of researching for a few years because I've heard it when I was in high school, I believe. And it's really interesting how everything came about, because how they... I don't want to say that the police is incompetent, but they found Ion at one of the scenes. One of his medical notice, like a piece of paper, slipped from his pants, from his trousers, and he didn't notice, and the police found it at the crime scene. So that's how they caught him. And of course, because in the 1970s they didn't have DNA whatever machines and everything, and how they discovered the father was a criminal as well was after Ion's execution. The father died like a year after, and at the autopsy they found because they did everything and they found in the DNA and they linked it to 4 other crimes that happened in the 40s and were like cold cases. They didn't find a suspect. And that's when they found that Romaro's father was also a criminal. And his last words were, because he was executed in a garden in the jail, in the prison, and his last words were, "Go grab my father. He's the one to blame." And after that, because he was resisting, he was tied up, and when they shot him in the head, and the bullet went from here to here. And that's how he died. And yeah, the father died of old age. But the family
So
dynamics.
convenient.
Yeah. But the family dynamics were really weird because, I mean, that's what they thought it was about, because the parents separated when Yuan was little, and apparently he had 2 other siblings who are living with his mother. And in an interview, his mother was, "I knew something was up with him, and it's my ex-husband's fault 100%, because he was violent towards me, he was beating me up, and the children saw that, and that's why I divorced him." And tell me why didn't my 2 other sons turn out bad, the ones that I have in here, something like that.
Oh, well, you never know.
I mean, after that, nothing linked to Romaro's family happened. So I guess they turned out well. But yeah, it's kind of effed up. And he was known as the Vampire of Bucharest because he was sucking the blood of his victims. And he did a bit of necrophilia as well with cannibalism, because they found on women that they were beaten in the like intimate areas. Yeah,
That's atrocious.
it is.
And thankfully, nowadays it doesn't happen like that. But still, I actually saw a TikTok video, if I'm not wrong, and there were women saying that they don't feel safe walking here at night, and I don't understand why, because this is very bad advertisement for Bucharest and Romania in general. But generally speaking, it's a safer place than many others, but it's still weird when you walk alone at night, regardless whether you're a woman or a man.
Well, it's bad.
Yeah, especially for women.
It's
Yes,
worse if you're a woman, it's worse.
But it's creepy sometimes.
It is. I mean, especially when you're walking on like alleyways, not necessarily on the main road, because if you walk on the main road, it's like, all right. I mean,
But it also really depends on the neighborhood, I must say.
Of course, 100%. And yeah, but to think that someone would do that, and I read an article saying that women at that time would like stop going out after 9 p.m. just to be sure. And one of his victims, because he had a lot, also men that he captured, and he had like 8 attempts to murder, something like that. It's like he failed 8 times, and one of the times he beat a woman like very badly, and he like moved her body, and he raped her and everything, and she was like, he left her there, whatever it was, and she was saved by a truck driver who found her and took her to the hospital.
Poor woman, imagine like living after that.
Yeah.
So much trauma.
Yeah. And I think also the theory of, how Ted Bundy was a very extremely, I don't know, handsome and appealing man. Iwan Omar wasn't appealing because there's interviews with his former professors, because he was a student at the veterinarian university here in Bucharest, and he showed like signs of, I don't know, mental disorders, there's some instances when he was because he lived in a student accommodation, and at some point he peed on one of his colleagues' bed, and he would get drunk and get violent, and just think of it that he had the knowledge of cutting things, not necessarily humans because he was a med student, but also veterinarian, which is like you know how to work a knife. And his mother found a knife and something I don't remember what under his pillow or under his mattress when she visited him in Bucharest, and she asked his father to take care of that, but his father would cover like stuff like that for him.
I don't know, but being raised in such a family, I mean, there are two types of people: those that are traumatized for life and they don't do anything bad. But that, of course, comes with, I don't know, social...
Social anxiety.
Yes, lots of anxiety, basically.
Yeah.
PTSD in some cases. But there is also the other side of the things where people would be very, very aggressive and not necessarily killing people, but they would have these maniac episodes whenever they're drunk or whenever they like get turned on, not in that sense, but
Yeah.
by something
Yeah.
maybe they used to experience in their family. So yeah, it's...
I mean, it seems like he was pretty violent, and given the fact that his father was beating his mother, I think that's where he saw that and applied it to his victims. And he was really one of the victims. He beat her with a metal, whatever it was, a metal bar, and he was asked by the police, where is the metal bar? And he basically kept it in the bathroom of the student accommodation, on like outside of the window. So it was there, like in like pretty accessible, everyone could find it. And imagine he just beat a woman with that and he hid it outside of the window in the bathroom.
Well, I guess intelligence wasn't taught in their family, right? And doesn't come from their genes, but also coming from a country that doesn't have therapy normalized, even to this day and age, therapy is seen as something shameful. You don't need to go to therapy. Maybe your family can do better than the therapist can do. This is the current belief. So it makes a lot of sense why there are so many people traumatized and violent, this and that. Because in other country, yes, you see, but in some more civilized countries, let's say, people are not this violent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there's exceptions to the rule, of course, and also think of the fact that it was during communism, which is like boohoo mental health multiplied by 10. So I don't think I don't think I think the mother had like a hunch that something was wrong, but not necessarily with his like mind. Like he behaves like this because his father is a shitty person, and that's why that was her theory, not necessarily because he had some mental issues. It's like, oh, he saw his father being a dickhead, and it's like, okay, I think he behaves like that because of his father.
Yeah, I mean, she just had a hunch because how would she know that it's actually about...
When no one knew about mental.
Yeah, she didn't even know about mental issues, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in communism, you weren't taught these things. You were taught to wake up in the morning, go to the job.
You didn't have
and
time
sleep.
to be depressed or have mental
Yes.
issues, so that's
It was not acceptable to be depressed.
it was a crime to be depressed.
Yeah, those times are very dark, I must say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God it ended.
Yeah, thank God.
So that was for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and we will see ya.